Hey there, it's Diane Forster, and welcome to I Have Today, the show that inspires, educates, and empowers you through life's transitions. And each week on this show, I bring on the coolest, most amazing, awesome CEOs, entrepreneurs, authors, experts, and truly life changers who've gone through their own reinventions in life and have come out on the other side successful. And they come on the show to share their stories and wisdom with us. And today I am beyond excited to have my guest on, Brian Ridgway. Hey, Brian, how are you?
Aloha, doing well and excited to be on with you too.
I am so excited to have you on the show, and you guys who are watching, you are in for a treat today because, you know, each show is special, but there are some shows that are more special than others. And when I find a guest and a person who's out there doing something that really resonates with me and pierces through my heart and connects with me in a powerful way, I cannot wait to get them on the show so that I can share them with you. You know, it's all about, you know, when you learn, you teach, and when you give, you get. And that's what I'm all about, and that's certainly what Brian's all about. Brian and I met just a couple weeks ago. We were at an event together, a conference, and we were really sharing all of our stories from stage about who we are, and it was about podcasting. And I said, I have got to get this guy on my show as soon as possible. So what Brian did is he sent me his book right away, beautifully gift wrapped with a beautiful note. And I said, oh my God, this guy's a class act. And I devoured his book. And we are going to talk all about that today. So I hope you guys are excited. Get comfortable, get a glass of wine, get a cup of coffee. If you're driving, get comfortable, keep driving so that you can not miss a word of this show. So what we always do on the show is we always share our theme for the show and our intention statement. So our theme today is called, Are You a Self-Help Junkie? Break Your Addiction, because we're going to talk about this because Brian was a former self-help junkie and so was I, self-proclaimed. And then the intention statement is, I have today to embrace my perfection. We're going to talk about what that means today. And so write that down, let it anchor in, let that be your mantra for the week. And if you follow me on social media, on Instagram, I've got a tab there that's called Wallpapers. And every week, my amazing team puts together this awesome wallpaper for you to download and use it as your phone. So it's easy to anchor in these mantras. So I have today to embrace my perfection. You can find it there at Diane Forster Official on Instagram. Okay? All right. So before we get into the show, let me read a little bit about Brian Ridgway. Okay. So coming out of an abusive childhood and then living with the outcomes of that ongoing pain, Brian invested over $300,000 over 30 years and tens of thousands of hours on self-help, personal development, and business, money, success courses as his life got worse and worse. Can anybody relate to this? Finding himself homeless, desperate, suicidal, and stuck, he experienced an awakening that took him from homeless to living the dream in Hawaii in less than 90 days. In the awakening, he was given the level 5 paradigm, which we're going to talk about. Since that miracle moment, he has been able to help people around the world to take their first steps into true freedom. Brian, welcome to the show. I'm so excited. And hey, here's a copy of his book, you guys. Break Your Self-Help Addiction, the 5 Keys to Total Personal Freedom. Sorry, I screwed that up. The 5 Keys to Total Personal Freedom. And I'm telling you, I got this book and I devoured it. And now I'm rereading it with a highlighter because it was so good. So I'm so excited to have you here and have this conversation.
Me too. I'm loving it already.
Yeah, so I want you to first share, can you share a little bit of that story and that moment that happened for you that changed everything in your life?
Yeah, and you know, I will say this as a preamble here because I want to tell the story, the shortest probably that I've ever told it. Very often when I'm working with someone, we'll get to a moment when they begin to accept the possibility that they actually brought all these circumstances in for themselves. When they really begin to accept the possibility, they might have talked about it for the last 40 years and mentally gotten it. When they get it and they say, but why in the world would I've gone through this much hell? And I say, how much sweeter is the heaven when you've gone through that much hell? How much sweeter, is the food when you've gone a couple days hungry? And we're here for experience. So the more we just maximize that experience. Well, I am an extreme case, I will say. So I set it up to where for the first 17 years of life, I got the crap beat out of me mentally, emotionally, and physically pretty much every day. It was a guarantee. I lived in terror. And I also was talk about a mantra. The mantra I was given was stupid, ugly, worthless piece of shit.
Yeah.
And it got beaten in. So I bought that. Like everybody else, we either buy what they told us about ourselves and we live it, or we buy it and pretend we didn't and spend the rest of our lives fighting against it. But the outcome's the same. And so I bought it. And for the rest, next 30 plus years, I lived in hell of my own creation without knowing I was creating it. Fanatical. The day I found out there was such a thing as self-help, there was a Wayne Dyer book. I said, oh, wait, you can what? You can work on yourself? You can change yourself? Oh my God, let me do that. And self-help wasn't a luxury for me. It wasn't an interest. It was life or death. For most of my life, the idea of suicide ran in the background. My son was born when I was about 23. And from that moment forward, suicide was not an option, but I wished it was. Right. And I thought about it often. There was no escape from the hell I was going through. And so in that moment, I had lost everything for the 7th time. And, to hear that story, I do talk about it in the book.
Yes, you do.
To have gone through coming out of hell and then beginning to make money, beginning to start to have a life, and then making it and losing it, and then making more and losing it bigger, and then having a higher rise and a harder crash. The 7th time, I was just like, okay, this is it. I am out of here. If I make another penny and then have that taken from me, I'm killing myself, period. Sorry, son. But what really the turning point for me was the 7th time it happened. I had learned at that time, I believed in the law of attraction. I believe that was a reality. I still honor the beliefs. I understand where those beliefs come from, but I knew one thing for sure. I knew that I was completely innocent in all 7 of those crashes. It was done to me by someone else, and I had to be the one doing it because I was the only common denominator in all 7. And so I went on this multi-month, how is it me? How is it me? I've never really been disciplined at anything in my life. I've always been a loose cannon, but I was a bulldog biting on to a rubber toy. And the rubber toy was, how did I create this? How is this me? And I wouldn't let it go. So this epiphany after epiphany that led to me having this moment, January 3rd, 2011, around 10 in the morning, where I literally, having lost it all, being the next morning, I was going to be on the street again.
Yeah.
All bridges burned, all possibilities that I could imagine completely gone. Everyone I could ask for help, I had already asked for help. This was the end, and there was no way out. And I just somehow, I had learned to listen to intuition, and my intuition said, chill out. And I said, well, that's the one commitment I made, is to trust my intuition. I basically surrendered in the highest sense of the word. And in one moment, every bit of quantum physics, everything I had ever learned about infinite possibilities, this idea that everything is energy, all is one, we create our reality, and we're actually in a state of infinite possibilities where the only thing that continues is what we know, and we're the ones doing it. I saw it. It went from being a set of ideas and concepts to me to actually being instantaneous, ongoing experience. And I became free in that moment. and was catapulted 8 days. A few seconds later, I got inspired and was set financially free, literally with one email that came in while I was having this experience. It was unmistakable. 8 days later, I was on an all expense paid cruise in the Bahamas, and technically it was about 67 days later that I was living in Hawaii, and I've been just expanding in awesome, miraculous life ever since.
You have, and you write about this in the book. You guys, we're going to have a link to this book. You have got to read this book. I was telling Brian before we started, I devoured this book. Now I'm reading it again with a highlighter. And the way you tell the story, and the aha, and the way it all just like came to you, and you write about it so profoundly. I felt like I was there too, like it was happening to me too. And it's something that, even wherever you are in your journey, your ascension, you hear this stuff and you know this stuff, or you think you know this stuff, but you got the message like so loud and clear. It was like you had reached that moment where there was nothing else to happen but this, and you were so primed and ready for it because of everything else that happened for you, right?
Yeah.
So powerful. Yes. Yeah. So, all right. So that happened. Now, you had been a self-proclaimed self-help junkie addicted to self-help for all of those years. And then all that knowledge, all of that all of a sudden sort of made sense for you. So you had a deep understanding of so many things: philosophy, religion, personal development, and self-help, but you also were born with a special gift that kept evolving and developing over time. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, and I appreciate you asking that. So when I find myself in a situation where I'm telling my life story, which happens a lot these days, people that have read the book or people that are curious, I really say there's two stories that ran concurrently, because there's the one I just told about being born into a violent household and miserable. All of that went on. And around 2 or 3, as my basic linguistic, we have this place where we start to learn to talk and understand the words other people are saying on a higher level. Around 2 or 3, I noticed that I was looking at people and instantly seeing what they thought, what they felt, what they believed, what they knew, and how this combination of thoughts, beliefs, feelings, ideas, concepts, and paradigms, I could see into them how they were holding themselves back. I could see what their pain was. I felt just this, I didn't have the words for this, but I felt unconditional love for them. I cared about them, and I would tell them what I saw and how they could change it. Now, 3-year-old, you're at my parents' house, Diane, and you're hanging around with my parents, and my parents walk out of the room, and I say, hey, listen, that thing you're dealing with, da da da. So I basically either freaked out or pissed off everybody that I met by doing this. Mm-hmm. And I've developed it now over the years. Well, the biggest lesson that I learned in this body, in this life, was around age 46. Don't help anyone who didn't ask for it. I took way longer than most people, although there's some people still haven't learned it. But then around 9 years, when I had that breakthrough, 2011, I realized that what I had been doing, even as I was doing business in my previous career, when I was a professional musician for years, I got into sales and marketing, I was helping companies. But I look back, and everything that I ever really did in all my work was help the people around me that I was working with. I was helping them deal with their stuff. And so when I had this awakening, I got this instantaneous, clear picture of, this is what I'm here to do. I've been groomed and prepared by my true self, no other, the entire time to get to this place. I went through all that shit that I went through, and I went through all that self-help so that I could do something that has never been done before, kind of weird. And I don't know if I've ever really said these words, but when you said that, especially with our conversation, Diane, I'm going to lay out a kind of a metaphor that
Yeah.
The old type of computer operation was based on these cards, and they would have thick hard paper cards, like a manila folder material, and they would punch these little tiny holes in them, right? So you'd feed that into the computer, and that was the code that the computer was going to work on, whatever those holes, little holes in the paper. I view that one of the things I'm here to do, and one of the things I've done, and it all happened in a flash in that moment. You said, in that moment, all the self-help kind of made sense, except for the stuff that's bullshit. Because what happened in that moment was every course and every program, every money business success program, Think and Grow Rich, every system, every seminar, everything I'd ever done, all those cards got stacked into one perfectly aligned stack. I was looking at the sun through them, and I could see the very few places where the holes lined up.
Wow.
Okay, the truth with a capital T, which many people are conditioned to believe that there isn't an ultimate truth. That's just as much of a religion as believing that yours is the truth.
Yeah.
So now when I sit with someone and I help them, I'm unbullshittable.
I love that technical term.
Yeah, there's a book title right there, unbullshittable. I'll use that from now on.
Yeah, it's great. It's so powerful. Well, all right. So what I loved I loved so many things about this book, but what I want you to talk about is spells. Okay. Because you are a spell breaker. That's what, one of your branding, like I would call it, you're a spell breaker. Yeah. So tell people what spells are, because we have this idea of what we think they are. What's your definition?
Well, and in that moment when I woke up, I literally lost all my spells, and it has put me in a very weird, wonderful, strange place. Like I say, unbullshittable. So here's what a spell is. If you just picture a storybook, and so a great example is Beauty and the Beast, and everybody can relate to it. So the prince was apparently an ass, he just treated people terribly. And so there was a witch a magician woman who he treated like crap, and because of her appearance. So she put a spell on him, and with that spell, he became unlovable, seen as a beast to other people. Well, that has basically happened to virtually everybody on the planet in different variations. So a spell is anything that you have taken on. Ignore and drop the idea that anyone could ever cast a spell on you. If they can, it's because you're inviting it on some level from your infinite being. So it's not even really relevant or a concern. But it's just taking personal responsibility. When you were born and one person said, well, you're kind of ugly, and you went, I'll buy that. Mm-hmm. What you did was you took some of your infinite, limitless creative potential, which is your nature, and you invested it quite literally. That phrase we say, I'll buy that. Yeah, I'll buy that. We don't know that that's actually true. We're taking our infinite, unlimited creative ability, our faith, and we're investing our faith in I'm ugly. So there's a lot of people today that if you say, now, do you think you're ugly? They say, no, absolutely not. But that doesn't change the fact that in their energetic being, I'm ugly is operating, and it's running the show more than they would ever dream. And then the idea that ugly means you're unlovable is another spell. So there's these networks of spells. Oh, and if I buy that product that they showed me on that advertisement that they said would make me not ugly, because I bought that literally and figuratively. So now we become these consumers, which being a consumer is a master spell that's cast by industry in order to keep us feeling limited and powerless and endlessly buying shit that's supposedly going to finally make us lovable or worth something, So a spell is anything you believe that isn't true, and the minute you buy it, it is true for you, so that for the rest of your life, you will see endless evidence because you're that powerful. And then we have spells that are clustered into paradigms, rules, identities, values, and our ultimate core paradigm, which is, it's really the only problem in the entire universe. And that is that you bought the spell that you're separate in a universe that's other than you and physical. And that's the master spell. And I help people, I call it spell breaking, by helping people to undo the ones they're ready to get beyond.
Yeah. Well, I actually, in your book, I read about that, and you had a link to one, and I watched it, and I experienced it. I watched it as if you were doing it with me, and I put my own, you know, spell that I wanted to break. That's what I did, and I followed the process. And it was really illuminating. And I love that you broke it down to really the one, you know, the one true thing that really is true, that we aren't separate from it, that we are all connected. And, you know, we've heard that before, but to really know that, to really know whatever it is that you believe, that you are that, you are the one in the power, you are the divine, you are God, you are edgeless, limitless, timeless, you are truly the one in the power.
Yeah.
It's so profound. And I'm so grateful that you're doing this work and having this effect on people. It's extraordinary. All right. So, and one of the things you do in the book, you talk about the 5 keys. So can you elaborate on that?
Yeah. And to really oversimplify it, is that the spells that we bought dictate our perception, and the spells that we bought dictate everything that we will ever see, hear, smell, taste. Like, just the idea that we experience an external universe, which is false. Side note that's very key to the center here. Einstein said, you know, this reality is an illusion.
Right.
Damn, it's a persistent illusion, right? It's persistent beyond our wildest dreams. While we're thinking this thought and talking about it, it's still running. We're still not getting outside of it. Yeah. And so you could say, in a way, that every one of our spells is a lock on reality. And then we get in this evidence that we're right, because we are that powerful that whatever we believe continues to exist. And so the keys are what you can do in a moment, very simple things consistently that just start to dissolve the locks. And I'll kind of save time here and give like the punchline of the joke. It ends up being presence, full, complete, calm, centered, safe, beyond safety, to where there's no perceived threat, because it was only perceived the entire time. And one of my favorite quotes that I like to use to illustrate this is, I awakened to find that my only tormentor all along was that part of me left over from yesterday. I awakened to find that my only tormentor all along was that part of me left over from yesterday. And what is left over from yesterday? The shit I bought. Everything I think and believe that I know, that's tangled up with emotions that I'm doing everything to not feel, that endlessly repeats. And I keep getting hypnotized and thinking, oh, then now I got to fix that. Now I got to solve that. Now we got a virus. Now it's this. Now it's that. No, those things are all arising from within, based on what you think and believe that you know, and the feelings you're trying not to feel. So these keys that all end up leading to that one place. Oh, now I'll act from here. I'll respond to what's happening from here. There's no more reaction. So there's no more creating it. Because that other quote, what we resist persists.
Yes.
Because we're the resist, and we're that which we resist, and we're that which persists. It's all the spells we bought.
It's really powerful. It's so true. And there are, you know, thousands of them, right?
At least. At least.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I'm just loving this conversation. So, why? What do you think it is? I'm going to kind of put you on the spot here, but why do you think we're so addicted to self-help to begin with? What do you think that underlying question or quest is?
Well, this is where the controversy comes in. So I'm
Yeah.
glad you asked, and we'll see how everybody else feels about my answer.
Uh,
All right, the pharmaceutical industry, more and more people are waking up and not really loving the pharmaceutical industry as a whole anymore. Now, to be super clear, I unconditionally love everyone. So I don't care if you're a doctor or if you hate doctors. It doesn't matter to me. I love you unconditionally. However, there is a pack mentality, and I'm going to take a short liberty. I love your question. I love you put me on the spot. I'm going to really take a liberty and make a point here that helps people to understand. So if you take a dog, or you take a puppy and a kitten, and you bring them home on the same day, and they become best friends, and they grow up together, and it's 5 years later, and they're best friends. They lay around, they cuddle, they're best friends. You've made all the videos. In fact, you have a YouTube channel. Everyone knows you're the one with the dog and cat who love each other. But if one day you put your dog out in the yard, and there's a 10 or 12 neighbor dogs that come around and hang out, and you decide to be crazy for a minute and you throw your cat out in the front of them, those dogs are going to go on the hunt instantaneously, and your dog might be the one that kills the cat. So pack mentality, mob mentality is very different. I read a quote this morning. Someone said, a person is smart, people together are dumb. That's not necessarily true, but it's been often true. Like, when has the majority ever been right about anything? And
Right.
so when you put a bunch of doctors together for the self-preservation of doctorness, then all of a sudden profit becomes the motivation and the perpetuation of the medical association, not the health of people. And so that's why the pharmaceutical industry is so hated. And today the pharmaceutical industry basically owns Google and YouTube, like a whole bunch of stuff. All right. Well, similarly, and this is a weird discovery that I made, the self-help industry is very, very, very much a mental pharmaceutical industry that thrives on diagnosing so that they look like they know what the hell they're talking about, and prescribing hopefully shit you'll have to buy again and again and again and again and again, which perpetuates the self-help industry. I'm not a part of the self-help industry. So, I title my book, Break Your Self-Help Addiction, End It. And now to get down to the personal side of this, I see that look on your face. I know you get this.
I totally get it.
As an individual, I notice that I have the disease of blocks or whatever other stuff I'm being sold by the self-help gurus. So I buy their solution. They gave me the diagnosis. The prognosis is not good. So I'm going to buy their prescription, and I'm going to go to this seminar, and I trust that this is the one that's going to work. I'm taking my pills, I'm drinking plenty of water with it. And then I get home, like, I'm at the event. Oh my God, this is the best thing ever. My life's never going to go back the same it was. In fact, they played that song 12 times. Life will never be the same again. But before my key hits the damn car door at the end of the seminar, or before I get on the plane to get home, I'm feeling that old feeling. Wait, it didn't change. What the hell? And so people end up believing either I've actually polled now over 20,000 people with this question, and 97% of people that have been self-help junkies for a while, they believe one of these three things is true. Either they're just being lied to by the industry, or the industry or they are missing something, or three, they're so messed up that even self-help can't help them. And I'm talking about it's almost, and see that look on your face, you get it. So of course I say I'm never buying another damn self-help thing again, but my problems don't go away. So I'm hurting, and I see an ad that says this is the one that's going to solve my problem. I got to buy that shit again. It's the endless loop.
It is. It really is the endless loop. I know. Listen, I've certainly done my share and been addicted to, and It's really interesting. Well, you're certainly in a league of your own, and I mean that in the most positive, kind way, that you've really tapped into something that really, really helps people immediately, yourself included. You know, it really happened for you, and so I love it.
I really appreciate you seeing me. I really do. I want to acknowledge that I get interviewed a lot, and I see the reasons why people often prevent themselves from seeing me, because I see the spells behind even that. So I really dig. I really dig in the fact that you actually get this.
Oh, I get it. Well, I mean, you and I have so much symmetry. It's great. Like, first of all, we're the same age. My breakthrough moment, my aha moment happened in 2011. And I'm on this quest to really serve in this way too. And I'm not as, I'm getting there, but I'm not at the level you're at. And I'm okay saying that, you know, I'm a work in progress. And we're very much outward facing beings on missions to serve in it. That's what we're about. Yeah, do we need money to live and survive and all of that? Yeah, do we want those things? Of course, that's part of the human experience too. But we're not about the quick sale or the latest thing. It's not about that. It's about being able to be, and this is why I like you so much, and I'm thrilled to have you on my platform and expose my audience to you, because unconditional love is the thing that was missing for me. And I know it consciously, and I practice it, and I know that there are still spells there about it, but I know that that is the key, this is my belief again, the key to world peace and really embracing this experience that we're so lucky to have, and that everything else is an illusion. It's just an illusion.
Yep.
So I see you and I honor you, and I'm open to it. And I wish more people, and by the way, I love everyone in the world too, unconditionally. I judge no one. I wish more people could feel this way and know this, because it would create so much more happiness in the world. I've done surveys, 70 to 90% of people say they're unhappy. It's sick. Suicidal was your path. That was my path. There's so many people out there who are feeling that way. And it's because they're suffering from these spells and these limiting beliefs, and when none of this is really true. So your book is, I want to gift it to everyone I know. I told Kelly in our program where I'm coaching groups of women, they're all getting a copy of it. You know, anything I find that I believe in, I pass and distribute to the world. So I see you and I get you. Yeah. So, all right. So what, I think you kind of answered this, but kind of elaborate on it so that who's ever seeing this or watching this can help and support if they can. What's your biggest challenge right now, Brian?
All right. I don't have any challenges.
Okay.
I don't have any problems. I don't have any challenges. I don't have any difficulties. And that's not positive thinking. It's just, I have infinite opportunities and I have preferences. And that literally is true of everyone on the planet. They only have opportunities and preferences, but the spells, you see what they do. We perceive, and I don't want to take anybody's problems away from them at all. All right. I'm going to answer your question because I know the essence of what you're asking, right? Check this out.
You change it any way you want.
Okay. Well, you know, when I said a little bit ago that, like the biggest lesson I learned was don't help people until they ask for it. Right. One of the things it's a total key, like this changes everything in people's relationships if they get this. And the vast majority of people have a couple thousand spells that they're going to undo before they fully get this. So when I say it, everybody will hear it. I know you hearing my voice, you will hear this. Contemplate it though. infinite, unlimited being of energy can't have problems. An infinite, unlimited being can't have problems. However, they can create the circumstances where their problems are so convincing that they're pissed off that someone would suggest that they don't have problems. When someone's identity is bound up in, and we all know this person, oh, let me tell you what the doctors told me this week. They added this. When that's their identity, don't try to help them with their health. That's the most unloving thing you can do, because that's the only way they know to get love. If you help them feel loved enough, they'll begin to feel that they don't need to focus there to get love. So we can undo that. And all right, I'm just totally taking a liberty here. You said something else a moment ago. You said, I wish more people could feel this. And I say an infinite, unlimited being has no need or place to ever wish or hope for anything. Just do it. Just do it, and I know, you invited me. So, I'm not being smart ass to you. I'm saying it to everybody. An infinite, unlimited being. We got no need wishing or hoping. Wishing and hoping is part of the programming that they gave us. You need to have hope. Hope means I can't probably do it. That's right. The definition of hope. I probably can't. And wish means, well, it would be great if I could, but I probably can't. So we just undo those spells right here and now. And what's my greatest opportunity is, I want to assist and help as many people as I possibly can who want it. I want to help as many people as I possibly can who want it. So I'm basically on a campaign to give as much as and I got to keep the lights on too. I got people to feed and people to help, and I support a lot of people in my life. Yeah. So I'm on a campaign to literally touch and help as many people as I possibly can with help and unconditional love, kindness, generosity, abundance, not more abundance, which there's no such thing as more abundance. That means we don't understand, just abundance, love, generosity, and kindness. And so I'm inviting everybody that I encounter, basically, hey, if you like what you're seeing, if you like what you're hearing and feeling, share it. So my opportunity is inviting people to share my book, and I don't even care if they buy. It's on Amazon. I don't care if anybody buys it. We give it away free on my website, way more than people buy it. So that's what I'm looking for, is people sharing this unconditional love. And I do have a gift. So if you like it, help me touch more people with it.
Okay, wonderful. That's awesome. All right. Well, why don't we talk about that? What is the gift?
When I say the gift, in that mean I mean that I have this ability and I can throw it out there. So and as far as the gift today, obviously, getting my book for free, and you did such a great job of selling the book, right? The book that we give freely on my website, which is breakyourselfhelpaddiction.com, breakyourselfhelpaddiction.com. #1 international bestseller in multiple categories, day one, from an unknown author, which tells you something. Almost 300 5-star reviews on Amazon. Some people want the physical copy. You can do that. It comes with several videos that, as you watch them, and Diane, you were saying, like, wow, you went through that celebrate, you played along, and it works for you if you pretend I was working with you, because I am working with you. There's only one here. And that's free for everybody. And, when you get it, you can just share it for free with everybody else too.
Yeah, it is beautiful. And so I'm going to encourage everybody out there. We will have a link to the hard copy on Amazon too. And also you can go to Brian's website and get it. Please watch the videos. Please do this for yourself. Just for you. I'm not even going to say do it for anybody else. Be open to the infinite possibilities that you may experience. No pressure, but what if? Just what if? So how's that for just leaving it kind of, no attachment, no conditions. And it's breakyourselfhelpaddiction.com. And he's got a lot of videos, Brian, you've got a lot of videos on there too that were really powerful. So, I'm friend for life. We're definitely connected. I'm so grateful that we the way we connected. It was just, you know, it was synergistic, and of course it was perfect and divine, like everything is. And I'm so grateful for what you've already done for me. Like, you've really shifted things for me. And I want to just tell a result case study audience story for the audience. I read Brian's book in 2 days. I read it, did all the practices, and the next day I found out I was getting a check for $16,000. So if that's not awesome, I don't know what is. I was like, God, this is great. But you know what? It's just the way it is. So, and I know that you have countless other stories like that. You've helped so many people already, and you're just going to continue to do it. So, yeah. So, all right. Any other final piece of advice you'd like to share with the audience before we say goodbye?
Yeah, I really like to end interviews when there's the space for it. I like to end them with telling the truth. And so I just tell the truth. And if you're hearing this, you know, on the audio podcast, you won't get to look in my eyes like everybody else is. So you might want to go check out the video version of this. I just want to tell you that you're actually perfect. And one of the spells that we picked up, it's been repeated 30 or 40 billion times. Nobody's perfect. It's a lie. We all bought it. And it seemed to come from people that, like, they looked like gods to us. Here we were, we could barely walk, talk. We were just coming up and learning how to not crap in our pants. And they were walking and driving and talking and doing all this magical stuff. So they had to have it together. We trusted everything they said. And we trusted that nobody's perfect thing. And there's been billions of sufferings as a result of it. So I'm reminding you that you actually are perfect. You're infinite, unlimited energy that can't be good or bad. You can't be right or wrong. You can't even be better or worse. You can't even be positive or negative. You certainly can't be deserving or undeserving. None of those are attributes of energy. Those are attributes of a human mind that was programmed with guilt and shame and fear and scarcity and competition, all of which are just spells, and you are actually beyond all of it if you want to be.
Beautifully said. This has been an amazing show. I want to thank you so much for being here. Again, breakyourselfhelpaddiction.com. And Brian Ridgway, we're going to have a link to your book, Break Your Self-Help Addiction, The 5 Keys to Total Personal Freedom. Keep doing what you're doing. It's amazing. It's truly, truly a blessing. So thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome. Thank you, Diane. I enjoyed it.
My pleasure. All right, this is Diane Forster. I'm going to invite you to follow me on social media at Diane Forster Official, and then subscribe, rate, and review to the podcast and to the YouTube channel. It would mean the world to me, and spread this word. If you heard something today or saw something today that really resonated with you, don't keep it a secret. Spread it. That's it. I Have Today with Diane Forster. All right, we'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.
Aloha.